Good morning, or in many cases, this good afternoon or good evening to everybody. Thank you very, very much for joining us today. It is our pleasure to host this webinar. My name is Chris Selland, and for those of you who aren't familiar with me, I joined Akumina earlier this year. I'm really excited to be on board with this great company. I joined as the new head of marketing. For those of you I haven't already met yet, I know there's many customers joining us today. I'm looking forward to doing that. And with me today also, although not physically with me because he's actually in London at the Gartner Digital Workplace Conference, is Troy Trudell, who many of you may know, who recently rejoined Akumina, but has been with the company, what, 9+ years, Troy, or so? Something like that, I believe. So Troy's
Yeah,
been with the company a long time. He's our lead evangelist, and he's going to do a lot of the most important work today, which is showing you a demo of what we're calling Akumina 2025. So without further ado, let me get into it. A few logistical notes to start. Please do use the chat/Q&A for any questions you may have. I'm going to quickly go through some slides just to give an overview of what we're going to be talking about. While I'm doing that, Troy may or may not answer a few questions. And then we're going to turn it over to him for a demo, and then we'll sort of switch roles, and then I will handle the Q&A, and we will certainly take those at the end as time allows. I expect that we will have time for Q&A, so please don't be shy. Please ask questions. And again, thank you for being here. All right, so let's get started. So first of all, I will just go through very quickly for those of you who might be not as familiar with our company. Again, some of you may be experiencing Akumina for the first time. We've been doing this. The company was established since 2011, so we've been doing this for over a dozen years, headquartered in Nashua, New Hampshire. But we are all about unifying internal communications, IT, and employees for successful workplace engagement. We have hundreds of successful customers, millions of users. We are a very purpose-built platform for Microsoft 365 environments. We have some very powerful AI use cases that we're going to show you today. And we're really about a very tailored experience and a tailored fit for your brand, for your culture, for your mission. And last but certainly not least, we have some great customers. And again, thank you for those of you who joined us today. Just these are some of many that we have, and we're really, really, really excited about our customer base. Fundamentally what we do is we are some people call us an intranet platform, but at the same time, we feel that traditional intranets in many cases have not delivered on expectations. And if they don't, employee experience suffers along with company culture and mission. So what we really try to solve for is the lack of purpose and alignment, the limited use of many intranets, the accessibility, content debt, lack of agility, and the limited ability to support business line leaders and their proactive communication needs. So we are all about providing a platform that is a package. We have something that many of you are familiar with called Akumina Hive. That is kind of our pre-built quick start, not fully pre-built, but templated approach to kind of helping our users get to value very quickly with some sort of pre-configured capabilities, but then being a very powerful and highly customizable platform to help you with internal communications, empower your communications, captivate your users, and last but definitely not least, unburdening IT. Again, through our tight integration with MS365, but many, many other capabilities that we've built and refined over the years. And I'm certainly not going to go through this bullet by bullet, but we would be more than happy to have a conversation with you. And hopefully in many cases, in most cases, for those of you here today, we will one-on-one post today's event. So that's just a very quick overview of what we do for those of you who don't know us already. So exactly are we calling Akumina 2025? First of all, it's not a specific release per se. It's more of an initiative around a few different releases and some technology that some capabilities, I should say, that we've already released. For instance, we released our awards and recognition module in Q1. A number of our customers are already using that, but we wanted to make sure that was important to many of our current customers and some of the new ones that have come on board as well. So we wanted to make sure to talk about that a bit as part of our 2025, and that was shipped in Q1. Q2, which obviously we're in right now, some of our improved and powerful federated search capabilities, AI-powered search, improved analytics, and some of our new AI capabilities, including our writing assistant. And then as we kind of move into the second half of the year, which is around the corner, we'll be doing even more from an AI perspective, a lot more actually in areas like improved search, prompted knowledge management, and many, many other capabilities, which I'm going to run through quickly in the slides, and then Troy is going to show you. I will also refer recently to a report that came out from Clearbox Consulting, which highlighted some of these capabilities, although again, there's more to come. I do believe actually Susie may have even joined us today. I know she signed up, but that, very nice things to say about us, and that our implementation of AI into our product is one of the better examples of intentional and effective outcome-focused use of AI that we have seen. In other words, we're trying to make AI usable. We're trying to make AI pay off for your organization and make it something that increases employee engagement and increases employee productivity. So, it's about not just about kind of cool bells and whistles with AI, but about usable AI. And again, you're going to see a lot of that today. This is where a lot of our investment is going forward. So briefly, just to kind of give you, and I'm not going to read through each bullet as mentioned, but just to briefly give you an overview of what you're going to see today. First of all, our awards and recognition module with some of our peer-to-peer manager and employee and milestone-based awards, our integration with Microsoft platform, as we'll talk to for quite a bit. Things like the recognition wall, the automation and triggers, and the analytics and reporting. Again, this has been super important to a number of our longtime customers who've been asking for this. This is available now. We did ship this in Q1, I believe, with our 6.3 release. And it's something that if you're not already taking advantage of, we would love you to, whether you're a current customer or a new one. So, that's definitely part of our 2025 initiative. Our modern AI-powered search, our very customizable interface with various components that can be toggled, unified content integration, the ability to kind of search across intranet documents, Outlook, Teams, ServiceNow, CRM, HR systems, Workday, be able to plug into many other systems as is needed from an intranet platform, as Gartner tends to call it, a IPS, Intranet Package Solution Platform. Our content integration and expanding the scope of our search so you can search across all of these different repositories and all of these different knowledge bases is really powerful. The AI-powered relevance, Max AI, which again, Troy is going to be showing you, which by the way, can be renamed. That's our name for it, doing things like auto-correcting, building relevance, and offering real-time suggestions. Semantic search, deeper context using entity relationships, and the modern UI and smart filters to make it all much easier to use. And then last, but definitely not least, a whole group of features and capabilities that we're calling Akumina AI. Some have already been released, as mentioned, like the writing assistant, which honestly these days is kind of table stakes for AI, helping you draft better content. But the search experience integration, which I just talked about a bit, and then some of the new capabilities that we're going to show you that we think are really cool, like our prompt management that is embeddable and reusable, our plugins and agents. We will show you some of that capability. The tools for authors, the clickable keywords, the handshake, and the response card generation, the tools for employees, for getting quick assist, for doing context-aware prompts and searches. Again, the virtual assistant, as we mentioned. And later on, some of our new powerful AI-powered orchestration and automation capabilities. So, and again, there's a couple of screenshots here, but we're going to show this to you live in a bit. Here's kind of how it comes together. And again, we will show you this in a demo. This is, as mentioned, you can see the reference to Hive up top here, but the ability to kind of give smart answers without even necessarily having users necessarily need to type in the question to be able to give you the results that you need before you even necessarily know what you're looking for. So anyway, there's all sorts of powerful applications for this that we will show you live. So without further ado, why don't I turn the sharing over to Troy, and I will let him give a demo. And again, if there's any questions, please do put them in the chat. And Troy, I will turn the stage over to you.
All right, thank you.
Good.
Let me go ahead and share my screen here. So that should be coming through at this point. So I'm going to do a couple of different demonstrations today in a couple of different sites. I'm going to start with the awards and recognition, and then I'll go in and start talking about search and AI. So I'm going to scroll down here on the homepage of this site and take a look here at a section of the site where we're highlighting awards, both the ability to nominate people as well as past winners. And we're highlighting past winners as kind of a spotlight here, but we're also highlighting past winners in this slider. So I can go over here and I could click on the Tech Wizard Award, and I can then see who won that Tech Wizard Award. I can see some details about, what the Tech Wizard Award is all about. I'll get into an employee's profile page here in a minute, and we'll take a look at where these get displayed for the employee. But if I take a quick step back here, I can also, as a user, nominate somebody. So if I'm going to nominate somebody for, say, the Above and Beyond Award, I can click right into that experience, and now I have the ability to go and nominate somebody. So maybe I want to nominate Brad. I'll say he is awesome. And then I can submit that nomination. It's going to go into a queue because while the award system is from the organization to an employee or to the employee base, um, it needs to be able to be voted on, maybe by HR or by, say, tech leadership in the case of the Tech Wizard Award. And so nominations go into a queue. I'll talk a little bit more about that as I go into the back end part of the demonstration. But you have nominations out there for a period of time. People get nominated, and then a winner is selected. So that's a little bit about awards. Now I'm going to go over to the profile page if I can get to it. There we go. The profile page here for Tyler. So I'm going to see that right on Tyler's profile page, he's going to see that award. And if he had multiple awards, he'd see them all here. There are also recognitions on his page. So recognitions are a little bit different. They are a peer-to-peer, right? An employee recognizing another employee. And I'm going to talk about how you would set these up. But I can go right to Tyler's page and I can recognize him for things. Now, what you're recognizing people for is very flexible. We'll talk about that when we get into managing awards and managing recognition. These are the types that I can go in and choose from today. So general, I've got some different options here. If I click on, say, teamwork, I've got more options. And so I have the ability to go in and, as a site administrator, define what those awards are and then make them available for people to nominate. I can also define what the recognition categories are and then make those available for employees to recognize other employees. So that's a little bit about the front end. And for today, I'm going to go just so deep, just due to time on both of these topics. So if you do want to see more information, if you're an existing customer, please reach out to your customer success team. If you're not an existing customer, you can certainly reach out to me or you can reach out to our sales organization and they certainly can get you into a deeper demo. So let's go and take a look at setting up awards and recognitions. So if any of you are familiar with the voice interface, and this does require 6.3, which would be with the voice interface, I have this awards and recognition button on the rail now once I have awards and recognitions enabled. So I'm going to click in there, and that's going to bring me into an area of that voice interface where I can go in and manage these things. So I've got up top, I've got awards, I've got recognitions, and then I've got settings. And I'm going to go through each of these, and we're going to take a look at options and what you have available. So I've set one up earlier today, so I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And the first thing you're brought through is what are the award details? So what do you want to name it? What do you want to uh, have as the description? And then what do you want to have for questions? Now for this, we're always going to have at least two questions. We're going to have um, who do you want to nominate and please provide a description because we always want that. But if I wanted to add questions, I can do that as well. So I could have, different options here. I could have radio buttons, multi-line text, single line text. So you can augment those two core questions with others. If you want to know, maybe you want to have, radio buttons for what qualities does this person bring to the table? And then you can have choices there. Or you may want to have, just another line of text to, describe an example of, this employee meeting this, criteria, something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that one because I don't want to have a third question. And then on the page layout, so this is the page that I went to for nomination when I nominated Brad. You have that same ability where I'm going to have the form and I'm going to have the winner, like I had on that tech page, who is eventually selected. So those things are going to be there, but I can add sections both to the center column as well as the right-hand column. So if I want additional content on that page, I have the ability to do that. And then I can go into authorization and scheduling. So, who can nominate? Employees can nominate each other. Who's the reviewer? So that's, again, awards go through a review process. So I can select from users that have that capability. Award owners. So I'm an owner, but I could go in and put other people as well. So they could get in and see this award and be able to collaborate with me on, who we want to select. And then down here, this is going to allow me to determine once that award is finalized, in the case of, Tyler here, if I go back here, what do I want to show up with that winner's information? And so if I go back to this page, that's what we're showing here. So we're showing information about that person. So I could go in and choose, any set of info that we have from PeopleSync to go ahead and include on that page if I wanted to. Over here, we have the ability to schedule this. So I might, in this case, want to start this one now and broadcast it out there on the homepage. Their awards are always going to have an end date because you do want to time box them so you're only leaving it out there for so long before you make a decision. And then I certainly can schedule it. So, one of the awards we have on the site right now is May Employee of the Month. Well, maybe I want to go in and just create stubs for the rest of the year. So June, July, and so on. I can do that. I can save them as drafts. I can schedule them. And when I'm ready to push them live, I could just come back in here and publish it. Or if I wanted to rely on that scheduled start date, if I'm done with all the content, I'll just leave it scheduled and I'll publish that out. Then I have the ability to review it so I can see, name, description, the picture I'm associating with it, just all the details about this award, and then I can go ahead and publish it. And that'll show up on the home page now. So that's setting up an award. Again, kind of surface level stuff. If you have questions, we certainly can, if we have time, answer them in the Q&A, but also get into a one-on-one conversation with you folks and really go a lot deeper than I'm able to today. So if I go into recognitions, this is a little bit more streamlined because, again, I'm setting this up as an admin and I'm making these available for people to, recognize each other. So under general, I've got a certain number. Under teamwork, I've got another number here. So maybe I want to go in and, add a new recognition. So here again, I can create a name, a description, a category, and you can create more buckets of categories if you want. So I can assign it to one of those categories. I can make it active or not. So maybe it's something I'm working on and I don't want it to be active yet. I can go ahead and associate an image or an icon with it. So I can go into the icon library and I could say, maybe team, and then I could see, icons that match that. Or maybe I want to say star, and that's going to bring up, different things that I can choose to put on that page to put and associate with that award or recognition. So I'm going to cancel that. I'm not going to create a new one for the site. But again, that's how you set up awards and recognitions. Under settings here, again, I can enable awards or disable them. Nomination properties. So again, I've got the ability to capture those different properties, and that's where you saw on that page as I was building out that award. Notifications. So this would be for the reviewer. They're going to get a notification. They're going to be able to go in and click in and review those. and then they have the ability to select who the award winner will be, and that ends that award cycle. And so if I go back to the home page here and I do a quick little refresh and scroll down, there's that new award that I went and put out there. And so again, I'm having this start tomorrow, I believe, and that will be active. So right now we're putting it out there, but it's going to start tomorrow, and that nomination button will be visible, and then people can start nominating their coworkers for that. So that's awards and recognitions. If I switch over to my other site here, this is where I'm going to go in and start talking a bit about AI and search and even how they can work together. So right here, I'm on the homepage of my intranet. I've got, Max, which we'll talk a little bit more about. Max is our digital assistant that we have in this site. And again, as Chris mentioned, you can rename Max. And there is this whole kind of traditional chatbot experience that you can have with Max. So I can come in and interact and, hey, what can I do for you? Ask any question. That is, a little bit useful, but it's also sorry, I'm just have to drag my little window out of the way there. But it's not as guided as we would like to have for employees or for you to be able to build for your employees. Because one of the barriers to adoption with AI is people don't really know how to work with it or what to ask. And so if you give them prompts, which you can do with our system, you can guide them down a path of giving them prompts. And there's a number of different ways to do that. And I'm going to show you some of them today. That allows them to start conversations around topics and allows them to start interacting with your content in a more natural way. So maybe I want to go in and type employee referral bonus. And that's something I want to search for. And so this is our standard search. Certainly we've made improvements over the years and we'll keep making more. But this allows me to go in and see if there's an employee referral bonus. It allows me to see where that content is coming from, so where that AI summary is coming from. This card is much like you would see in Google when you're doing a search. So it's giving me that result, and it's summarizing the employee award, or sorry, employee bonus. And if I look at the employee handbook here, I now have the ability to interact with that content through AI. And this is one of the areas where we're using prompts. So if I want to summarize that, I can click here. And now what I'm doing is I'm giving Max a prompt to summarize the employee handbook. So I'm not asking the employee to go in and type that in. I'm allowing them to interact with Max in a directed way using the employee handbook as its source. And so now I'm scoping this interaction that I'm having down to that piece of content. And so maybe I want to ask about referral bonus amount. So I'll type that in. And now, again, this is scoped to that document. And so it allows me to go in and really interact with that content. I don't have to open up the document. I don't have to page through it because it's an employee handbook. It's going to be quite large. And then maybe I want to know if there are any restrictions. And again, it's going to go through that document and it's going to build out, eligibility criteria. And again, I don't have to parse through that entire document to see anything about those restrictions because they're all being listed out here. I, again, can jump into the handbook if I want to, if I want to go and look at other things. I even have the ability, if I wanted to ask it to bulletize the handbook, I can do that. So it'll give me basically a table of contents. And I have the ability to jump into a session with Max with prompts that are directing me to ask certain questions. So can you explain the contents? What does it cover? Those types of things. And so if I scroll up here real quick, it starts off with tell me more. And so now it's going through and it's giving me a more expansive summary. But then I can either use these follow-up questions or I can go in and ask other things. So maybe I want to go in and type PTO policy. So again, I could use those questions that we've given, or I can go in and type my own. And that is actually one of the questions. And so that's really one of the ways that we're doing prompt management and marrying search and AI together. Let me do another example around PTO up here because I want to show you one more. And so again, it's giving me that highlight up here, but it's also now searching against both of these documents because we've got PTO listed in that employee handbook like we looked at, but there's also a separate PTO policy document. And so now it's going in and it's looking at both of those and it's creating that card for me. I'm going to go back to employee referral bonus. And if I go over here, one of the things that we can do with our search connectors now is, and this is in development now, so I'm showing you some things that are coming. But what this allows me to do is search other repositories. So basically, we're using the Graph Connector framework, and anything that I can connect to through that, we can start surfacing in search. And it's not just about, hey, is there content in service now? It's allowing me to now go and have a deep link into that experience. And we can even do something cool like this. If I go into Max, I can say, show me my tickets. And what it's now going to do is it's going to go in, so it understands the context. It's going to go in and show me my most recent tickets. And it's, again, going to show me the source. So if you had multiple service platforms, maybe you also have Workday, or maybe you've got, a CRM that you want to integrate with or something like that. So I can now click in here, and what it's going to do is it's not just showing me a list of my tickets, it's allowing me to go in and have that deep link right into that ticket. And so what we're doing there is we're doing a handshake between our AI agent and that third-party system, both for kind of content articles like KB articles and ServiceNow, and for things like tickets. So we're doing that handoff that allows an employee to have that deeper experience than just saying, hey, I have some tickets. Great, now let me go log into ServiceNow. We can have that more seamless transition for them. So that's some of the user side things for search and AI that we have in the platform. If I now go into looking at more of the authoring side, I'm going to go in and open up my Rail here. And I'm going to go into structured content. So I'm going to show working with AI inside of content, and I'm even going to show it inside of pages as well. So maybe I just want to go into this top article here. I certainly can go in and create an existing article as well, or create a new article. So you're seeing right here, I've got a couple of different light bulbs. One up here above the content and one in the editor ribbon. I'm going to talk about both of them. So if I click up here, and this is really helpful when you're starting content. So if I go ahead here, I'm going to get into Max, and this is going to be on the composition side of things. So I can type something in and I could say, and I'll just choose from something that I've used before, write a sentence on AI and Akumina. So I can click go. And what this is going to do is Max is going to go and search different buckets of information. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that when I get a bit deeper into AI here. And now it's giving me a little sentence on AI. Well, maybe I want to transform this a little bit more. So I can go down here and I can click transform. I can say, you know what, make this longer. I also could have typed that in, but we're giving people some hotkeys to work with. I could go up to tone and I can say, make this formal. and I could say, make this more exciting, and on and on. I have different capabilities there to help a user create a stub of that content that they can use as a starting point. If they're just looking to get something started. I do that all the time when I'm coming up with content. I use, pre-existing content to start from, helps me think about what I'm doing. So this is a great way to do that right within inside the editor. And I can copy this to paste it either here or somewhere else. I can replace the text that's there. I can append the text that's there. In this case, I'm just going to close out of here without saving. The other area you see the light bulb in the content editing interface is right here. And there's a couple of different use cases here. So right here, you can see I've got this word highlighted, digital era. And now, so I'm going to highlight it again, and I'm going to click on that light bulb. And I've got this saying, show me details about Ed Rogers, our CEO. I can generate a preview so I can understand if this is something that I want to show. And then I have the ability to have that be a jumping off point into a conversation with Max. So again, another handshake. And this is what I was talking about when scoping things. I can scope this to content. I can scope it to people, ServiceNow, my department knowledge. You can add different buckets here. And so I'm not going to update this because I already have it existing there. And so I now have that link off into that experience. So let me go ahead and get out of here real quick. And I'm again jumping that user off into that experience of show me details about Ed Rogers. And the really impactful thing about this is it's more than just putting a link in the content. It's about providing relevance for that content. So show me details about Ed Rogers could show me this today, but maybe Ed gets a new cell phone and has a new cell phone number, or he moves locations. If I were to ask that or jump off from that article into that experience, I'm going to get real-time information. I'm going to get Ed's new phone number or new location. So think about this in terms of if you're building a benefits page from an HR perspective, and you want to create these prompts that direct people to certain benefits. Maybe it's things that people aren't using and you would like them to use more. What you can do is you create that AI prompt inside of your content. And you can say, if you want to learn more about parental leave, click here. And it can start that conversation. Well, the impactful thing is, what if the parental leave details change? Well, Max is going to be able to go in real time, look at that content and bring up the latest information. So you're not creating links to static content. You're creating this ability to have real-time content delivered without you having to go in and update those links. So that's one of the things that you can do from that ribbon bar. I'm going to go back in here real quick and we'll get back to that content article. And you see this AI response card here. This is another way that you can use Max inside of content. So I'm going to not highlight anything at this point, and I'm going to click on that light bulb. And so what I'm seeing here is I'm seeing this ability to create a response card. Now I'm going to show this live inside of a page here in a moment, but I wanted to talk about it up front. So what I'm showing you is the ability for me to go in and create something in line. So, I could say summarize the PTO policy. And then I can generate a preview for that. Don't have it scoped to documents, so let's see what it comes up with. There we go. So now I've got that PTO policy. That's way too long for me to want to include in this content. I'm going to go ahead and say, make this simple. And I'm going to generate the preview. There we go. And again, it's scoping that search to that one document. And it's bringing that up for me. So again, imagine you want to have this on a benefits page and you want to make it available real time. You can insert that card into the content. So now you have content sitting inside of content that can generate real-time information every time that employee goes to that page. And you even have the ability, you can see it says Ask Max right here. You even have the ability to go in and say, I want to have chat instead of Ask Max. So now I can go ahead and interact with that content. not just say, ask again or something like that. And so again, you have that ability to determine what happens inside that card. And then when you go ahead and save this or publish it out, you're going to see that placeholder in your content. That is where that card, that information that I just previewed is going to show up within this article. So let me go ahead and show this in context of um, page builder. Oh, I clicked on the wrong button there. So I'm going to go back to the home page here. And I'm going to get into the page building interface. So I'm going to click into the edit mode here. And one thing I forgot to mention is that awards and recognition widget tray is just like any other. So you could put it anywhere in the page you want. If you wanted to have it up top, if you want to have it, right below or above your news articles, wherever you want to put it. But in this case, I'm going to add a widget. And I just want to add the text block widget. And I'll go ahead and add that widget. And I'm just going to get rid of all that text. And so now I have the ability again to click on that light bulb without highlighting any content because I want to create that response card. And the cool thing here is I can go in and browse. Now I am showing you things in development right now at this point. So I can go in and browse different prompts, and we have a prompt manager built in. So you can create these prompts and I can go in and determine what do I want to start from or have um, as a prompt that I put in that page. So maybe, show me a daily snapshot or calendar highlights, or, if I go into people and culture, show me a company fact of the day. I'm going to go down here to Jason's examples. And I want to go in and grab, where is the one I was looking for? Motivational quote. And so I'm going to select that. So create a random motivational quote for business professionals. I'm going to generate that preview. I'll see what it says. So there's a nice quote from Jason Arden. And again, I can go in and do all those adjustments that I wanted to have before. That's all available. I can insert this, and now I have that AI response card. And so now if I want to click publish here, want to get out of page editing, I'm going to see that response card is coming up right in the page. And it's, again, in this case, it's going to bring random responses for me. And the really cool thing about this is, and I'm not going to get deep into this at this point because I do want to leave time for questions, and we can also, again, set up one-on-one time. But where we're going with this is I actually have the ability to allow a business user to now come in and even start writing code. So basically, I built this widget that allows me to go out to the internet, grab content, and display that content. So if I want to go back here, I'm going to go back into edit mode, and I'm going to go back into that light bulb. I don't think I had it highlighted. There we go. And you can see right here, what I'm doing is I'm telling the card what I want. So generate a random motivational quote for business professional. It can be for any industry. It can be for more than one sentence. It doesn't always have to be about success. It doesn't always have to be about opportunity. Return it as a block quote and always include an author. If you don't know the author, use Jason Arden. And so now I'm saying what I want, and I'm also telling it how to return it. So you can imagine where I can go in and query information, whether it's from internal knowledge or external knowledge. Again, you can define those buckets. And then I can even start saying, hey, put this in an H1 tag, or I want, this part of it bulleted, or I want you to do a pull quote and show me the example. And those types of things allow you to now deploy your own widgets, deploy your own functionality into a page without having to go in and custom develop it. And so that's where we're going with all of this. And we really think the depth that we're building with AI, by building it as we have done at the platform level, really allows us to provide deeper capabilities than just digital assistants and just chatbots. It's really now applying context and relevance based on content that's available, based on other systems I might have access to, even when we keep building on top of this, context of the employee informing the AI engine. So it will know to show me certain things. So if I'm a part-time employee and I ask about vacation time, it's going to show me possibly something different than if I'm a full-time employee. Or if I'm in the US versus the UK, it's going to show me different information. And so that's where we're going with this in terms of building AI, both on top of the content experience that I just showed you, and then the end user and search experience. So with that, Chris, we can stop the share here, which I'll do, and we can open it up for any questions that we have time to answer.
Yeah, sounds great, Troy. Thank you very much. And I will come back on audio and video. First of all, I will put up also our emails so that you can email either Troy or myself if you have any questions post the event today. I'll put that up in a second. There are a couple of questions, so let me run through them. They were kind of coming in as you were demoing, and most of them, if not all of them, refer to your demo. First of all, the first one I can probably at least start, which is why we started with awards and recognition. And I partly said this up front, but just because this is certainly part of our 2025 release and or 2025 initiative, and important to a lot of our existing customers. So the kind of simple answer there, unless Troy, you want to add anything to that. And then there was
No, that's part of it, and we wanted to be able to show, as Chris mentioned, capabilities that people have been asking for.
yeah. Also, you showed this as part of the demo, but for clarity, where do those colleague recognitions appear? So,
Yeah, those appear on the employee's profile page.
all right.
And
Go ahead.
I want to clarify one thing. Both the recognitions that I've received, as well as it's a jumping off point for the other employees to recognize me. So if you go to my page and you see different things I've been recognized for, you can recognize me for something as well.
Yep. Okay. Excellent. Going through these in order, and again, some of these were coming in, although there's a few more coming in now. This refers to AI search. Does clicking on the summarize button automatically pull in the AI search?
Yep, that's exactly what's happening. So when I'm summarizing it, I'm using AI to summarize that document. And then again, it's now in the context of looking at that document as the source. It's scoping to that document. So now I can have a conversation basically with the document.
Okay. And then I'll generalize this question. Customers asking they have their own AI tool. Instead of using our AI search functionality, can they integrate to their existing tool?
Oh yeah, most certainly. So you could either use it instead of or in conjunction with. So we don't have our own language model engine that we've built. We actually have built our platform on top of Microsoft Semantic Kernel. That's what they have Copilot talking to. And it's a normalized framework. And so other language models talk to that. And that's how we can go in and talk to ServiceNow through the Graph API. And so I'm not familiar with the AI that you mentioned, but if it can also work with the semantic kernel, then you have the ability to augment it with the things that I'm showing you, right?
Okay. That's actually a good transition, I think, to another question too, which is, are there any additional licenses for AI and AI search? I'm assuming that means, do we require any additional licenses? But the question doesn't specifically say that, but at least that's the way I read it.
Yeah, there is additional licensing on the AI side of things. So again, you will have to have a subscription to an AI provider, whether it's Azure OpenAI or OpenAI or there's others out there. I'm not really sure from our perspective. I don't build out our licensing and license pricing, so I'm not sure if there's going to be additional licensing fees from Akumina to add this, but we certainly can take that as a side question, Chris, and get back to, although it's an anonymous attendee, so I don't know how we're going to get back, but certainly if you
Well,
want
that's why
to,
our emails are up there. So, yep.
yeah, I was going to say, if you want to reach out to Chris or I, we can hunt that down for you.
Yeah. And if they're product detail questions, Troy is definitely recommended, but I'm happy to forward the answers too. Um, Okay, so this is a we show question, and I don't know if you want to try to do it quickly here because I also know you've got to get to the airport, Troy, but can we show what the homepage looks like and what customization is available per each employee? I'll sort of leave it up to you whether you want to try to quickly show that here or we want to kind of do that off online on a one-on-one demo.
I can show quickly, but I think to do it any justice, we'd certainly want to go in a bit deeper. But I do want to answer the other question about Max. So
Absolutely.
you
Go
have
ahead.
the ability to scope the search the way that you want it. And what I'm going to do is I'll actually go in and show a couple of things here at the same time. So let me go ahead and share
Yep.
my
I'll
screen
stop sharing
again.
what I was trying to do there.
All right. So I'm going to move all the windows out of the way here. There we go. So this is what the homepage of this demo site, or really it's the Hive. It's that package site that Chris was talking about. And so the thing you want to think about with the Akumina platform is that we are a series of components that we have deployed into this site template. And so you can take this site template and you can extend it. Just as I added a widget to the center of the page here, I could add cascading widgets across. I can add different information, news, and you can go in and personalize these pages. Now, I'm not going to have time to get into a full deep demo on personalization and the options there, but we certainly can set up a one-on-one with one of our team members to go through those capabilities because we have personalization throughout the software, um, both targeting and personalization, I should say. So and again, I don't have enough time to go into all the nitty gritty on the difference, but think of targeting as as an organization. I want somebody to see certain things or have a certain experience because of what I know about them. And personalization is more me coming in here and saying, hey, I want to see certain things. So for example, if I go to personalize my experience, sales here is not something I can uncheck. That's because that's being targeted towards me. If I wanted to add in other areas of the business I'm interested in, I can do that. And so that's personalization. I'm now going in and saying, hey, I want to see certain content. So it's augmenting what I would normally see of sales content with other content as well. And again, we can do targeting and personalization. We even have a whole persona engine. So you might say user in X department sees something different than user in Y department, but you could also scope it to, hey, new hires. A new hire is going to see a different experience. But again, that's going to take much longer than we have today. I did want to get in and talk a little bit about the other question that was asked around SharePoint lists. So I'm going to go in back to that article that I'm working on throughout this demo and just make something clear. This type of content, this type of structured content lives inside of SharePoint lists. And up at the top here, I can decide if I want to make this available to Max or not. So there's a level of governance in place that you can have where you determine what content you want to make available to the AI. So if I turn this on, that's going to be available. It's going to go into basically it's going to be vectorized and it's going to go into that language model. And then now that'll be available for the AI to use as part of its interaction with the employee. So you do have the ability to search beyond documents, just as we can search, something like a service now using AI. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing again. So
Okay.
I can see the Q&A.
Yep. I'll let you just read them directly.
The one about involved in integrating with other apps, really again, that's going to be something that we're going to want to set up a deeper dive into. But the very quick answer to that is we've got a service hub that we've built that allows you to create what are called endpoints. Those endpoints can talk to other apps through APIs. through application programming interfaces that would, if the data is available, allow me to bring that in. We don't charge separately for the ability to integrate to those other apps. There is development involved, either on customer's part or on a service vendor's part that you would need to undergo for different types of integrations. Now, things we have built in, the Microsoft 365 suite's fully integrated already, so you wouldn't have to build those. There's no additional licensing for that. ServiceNow, when that feature is released later this year, that's going to be out of the box. So there will be more and more things that we will put into our own capabilities, but everybody's idea of an integration is different. And so we make the platform available to do it. Again, that's a very short version of what we could go into a deeper conversation.
Right. And just for the sake of anybody, let you take a breath for a minute. For anybody who might be listening on replay who didn't see the question, it's what is involved in integrating other apps and whether we charge for it. So that was the question you were just answering. A couple more that have come in, and I'll read them to you, Troy, because again, some people may be watching this later. What languages will Max support?
As far as spoken languages, we can support anything that is in, I believe it's anything supported by the Microsoft language model. And now I'm talking about spoken languages. And there's like 200 and something or more in there. I don't remember the exact number.
Okay. We'll go through these pretty quickly because I know we're running short on time here. How long, and say approximately, is the discovery design process to help determine the components and the placement? And is there much flexibility with the look and feel?
So the length of the discovery redesign process, it's really dependent on which path you go down. So are you going to go down the path of using Hive as a starting point and building on top of it? Or are you going to do a custom design? And I think part of that question was also around um, flexibility of design. So Hive can be
Yes.
pretty darn flexible. So certainly if you start with Hive, that design and discovery process is going to be shorter. One of the things that you need to think about is you're working with inside that as a framework. So while you can actually extend Hive, and we've seen some pretty, again, darn good extensions, and we probably dig up some examples to send off. But again, that would be a conversation you want to have one-on-one with somebody here so we could get you the right material. So it's very extensible. You can, again, add or remove components. All the components use standard design techniques like HTML and CSS. So you have full access to building on top of those. It really depends on what you're looking to start with, how deep you would go in both design and discovery.
Um, there's a question here that just says, is it item level or list level? And presumably referring to the SharePoint.
Yeah, it's back to the SharePoint list. I know in our interface right now, we're doing it at the item level because you may want to restrict, I might normally want to have articles that appear on the news page, for example, which is the example I was giving. I might normally not want them to be indexed or vice versa. I might want them to be indexed and I want to turn off a couple. But Chris, we should probably take that as a follow-up question because I'm not sure about if I can set it to always do a complete list or not.
It's another one that came in from anonymous, so whoever asks, will just ask them to please email one of us, or alternatively,
Yes.
to akumina.com and either request a demo or just drop a question in the, we have a general contact us form. You can ask a question there as well. All right, and then last question, which is another pretty general one, which again, I think we'll need to drill down in detail, but I'll let you take a cut at it, is do site updates require manpower from the customer or do they happen automatically on the Akumina side?
Sure, that's a great question. There's two parts there. So, and I'll use awards and recognition as a great example. If an existing customer upgrades to 6.3 where awards and recognitions is available, they'll get everything on that side rail that I showed and the whole back end. What they will have to do is on the site side, go into that widget tray that I showed and pull in the widgets for the awards. So again, it's not a development task necessarily. It certainly is, I would say, more than your kind of casual content author task. So an administrator level person would pull those widgets into the pages where you wanted to show them, make them available, and then you can start going in and setting up recognition, setting up awards. So there is a little bit of front end work that's needed, but the capability showing up as you upgrade is something that just happens.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Troy. We will let you go catch your flight. That's the end of the Q&A. That's the end of the webinar today. Love having a lot of Q&A. So thank you everybody who participated for all of your questions and engagement and interest in this topic. We will be doing many more webinars, including drill down on some of the topics we've discussed today as the year goes on. So please do subscribe to our email. If you don't already, come visit our website. Ask us any questions anytime. And other than that, we will let everybody go. Thank you all. We really appreciate your attendance today. Have a great day. And Troy, safe travels.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.